People, we're back. Ooh, there's going to be really bad glare on those. Time to sacrifice a headache. But I want to make this video actually because of that word that I just said. I've been contemplating this a lot recently. And one thing that I've learned about myself is that if I make a video about it, even if you get literally nothing from it, it helps me digest my thoughts about things that I can't really wrap my head fully around in the moment. And sometimes I post videos, sometimes I don't, right? I'll probably post this one. But ultimately, what I wanted to talk about is the highest human act that you can have take place, right? And that thing is sacrifice, right? I've been thinking about this for the last month because a month ago, maybe a month and a half at this point, I was at a Bible study from my friends at Lent. I was at a Bible study and we talked and we were talking about prayer and stuff like that. And basically, the call to action at the end of it was to pray and just ask God to speak to you, right? God, what do you want me to hear? What do you want me to see? What do you want me to think about? Right. And that was a challenge to me because I'm just super terrible at hearing from God. Like, it's just not the greatest trait of mine. I feel like I get really strong intuitive feelings, but I've never been good at truly stopping and listening, right? I'm also just not good at listening in general, right? Very not patient. I'm very go, go, go. And long story short, I pray and I'm thinking, and I'm sitting there and it's dark for a minute, and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, God, what do you want me to hear? What do you want me to hear? And this thing just like lit up like a neon sign in my brain. It was the word sacrifice, right? Then it turned into a sentence, and it was sacrifice everything for me. And then recently on Sunday, I feel like I got a list of people and things and stuff that I need to sacrifice, right? And it's a Monday night right now. I just got off the phone with one of my closest friends, and somebody that I look to in times of not really, understanding my faith and things of that nature. And I was talking to him about this, and I was like, dude, like, what the heck does that mean, And he laughed. He was like, dude, that's just the gospel, right? And then he obviously, padded some more stuff onto the back of it. And now I'm making this video, right, to tell you that the highest human act is sacrifice, right? Now, the reason for that is because sacrifice is inherently painful, right? But if you look at anybody in history who has accomplished anything extraordinary or has any high level of respect or love, or people who are very grateful for this person, if you look in their life, you'll see that they're very sacrificial, right? Now, that doesn't mean that they, cut the head off a lamb and go sacrifice it on a mountain, right? What that means is they give of themselves things that they honestly probably don't want to give, right? Now, for me, the reason I'm making this video is because, dude, this is like, surprise, surprise, if you're coming off like my Instagram and watching this. But one thing that I'm horrible at is not pursuing something in business, right? I am always trying to figure out a way to just make things click, turn on the money machine and enjoy it and find purpose in it, right? If my stepmom is watching this, I don't comment on this, but she'll know that I call her once every month or so, and I talk to her about how I can't find purpose in what I'm doing, though, at the same time, right? And, I'm definitely not the richest man in the world, but I'm not broke either. So that means that I'm doing decent at the part where I pursue the money and I try the things or whatever, but I'm just never fulfilled, right? Never really does anything for me. It doesn't give me the sense of satisfaction that I had when I was in the military. Even before then, dude, when I worked at HEB and I was pushing carts, like I don't know. I found more purpose in doing that than I do right now in most things that I do, right? And I mean, I list this example because that's one of the things that I feel like God really told me to sacrifice, right? Is the pursuit of all of this stuff, is the pursuit of the right business and the pursuit of all of these things that at one point I thought were good, right? Another trade off, another thing that comes to my mind, like girls, right? If you truly know me and we're actually tight, right? You'll know that I am really uninterested in talking to a bunch of girls and doing all this stuff. And yeah, I'm just not into that, right? It's just not me. I think it's a complete waste of my time. I've never liked it. I've always felt like it was a distraction from the things that I needed to pursue at whatever stage of my life. And recently, even though I'm 22, I'm getting to the big 23. And I look, some of my friends are married, some of my friends are parents now. Like my friends from the military, some of them are married, some of them are parents, some of my closest friends, right? And I look at them and I'm like, dang, dude, like I really want that, I really want to like be a dad and I want to get married and do all these things. And like, I don't know, the person I look up to the most in my life is my dad, right? And I want to see if I can replicate that, right? Like, I don't know if I can do half as good as he did. Like, that's awesome. That's another thing that I think God put in my brain and was like, no, you need to sacrifice this, right? And I'm saying all of this stuff not because I just want you to know what I prayed about and I want to dump my thoughts on you, but because the things that I'm wanting to sacrifice are not the things, actually, the opposite, the things that I don't really want to sacrifice, but I feel God has told me to sacrifice are inherently good things, right? Now, the thing with trusting God is typically you're going to have to sacrifice an inherently good thing, right? I always get the names mixed up, but the son who gets taken up on the mountaintop by his father, he's about to sacrifice him, right? And God stops him and he says, nope, don't do it, right? Look at your obedience. You're willing to sacrifice your son for me. And then he blessed him abundantly after that. In the moment, I mean, we see in the Bible that person, I always forget the name. He was just like, okay, but cool, I guess I'll do it. But internally, I can assume he was probably like, dang, dude, like, why does he want me to kill my kid that I prayed to have for so long? Like, this is nuts. I love my son, right? This sucks. And if we think about that, right, God wants to see that you're willing to sacrifice before he'll give you what's on the other side of it, right? Now, what does this look like? What is this actually applicable to in your life and my life, and even outside of faith, right? If we look at anybody who is successful, they sacrifice, right? They sacrifice time with their family and friends. They sacrifice going out, right? Having fun. They sacrifice sanity, right? Happiness, peace. They dive into anxiety. They take on all this weight. They bear the chains of success, right? They're sacrificing something up here so that they can have more out here, right? And for some people, that's what it's about. For other people, like the people that, man, I got the privilege to know and meet and become friends with in the military, some of them are sacrificing themselves, right? Because they believe in this greater brotherhood, fraternity, and mission that the military encompasses, right? They may not fully believe and agree in, what the politics and, the fucking 5-year plan of the country or whatever, but what they're willing to sacrifice for is the person to the left and the right of them. And those are the people that get immortalized in history forever, right? Make video games about them, make movies about them, write books about them, tell stories about them forever, right? If we look back hundreds and thousands of years ago, the people that, you typically can recall their name, it's because they were a great warrior. They were a great military leader. That, right? And that comes from sacrifice. And if we look at everybody who is successful, who is fulfilled, who is joyful, who is abundantly blessed, all of these things, if we were to start to cross-reference all the traits that they have, they don't all have the same traits, right? Some of them are not hard workers. Some of them are not very gifted. Some of them didn't come from the greatest background, right? One thing that they do all share in common outside of just determination and things like that is they're sacrificial, right? They're sacrificial of something, right? Now, my challenge to you, because I'm getting ready to sacrifice a bunch of things here in the next, like, I don't even know how long, honestly. And this is more just public accountability at this point. If you got my number, text me in a week and ask me what I've sacrificed. It'll keep me on the wagon. But my challenge to you is to sacrifice something, right? If it's sacrificing an early night's sleep so that you can work towards that dream, that vision that you have, sacrifice it, right? If it's that relationship that you know you shouldn't be in, but you just keep on going back to it because it makes you feel good, I challenge you to sacrifice it, right? If it's, man, that car that you pay way too much money for because it makes you feel like more of a man, I challenge you to sacrifice it, right? Like, pick your poison, think about whatever you may need to sacrifice and sacrifice it, right? Now, I say that because I'm doing the same thing, right? It's cool to have other people doing this with me. But besides the fact that it makes it easier for me to sacrifice, to ask you to sacrifice, besides that, this is truly the thing that has changed my life, continues to change my life, and will probably always be the thing that changes my life, right? I sacrificed my worldliness so that I could follow Jesus. I sacrificed stability so that I could go and be this online money guy. I sacrificed a lot of time drinking and partying and going out and doing crazy stuff and having sex and doing all this stuff because I didn't want that, right? I sacrificed what the world wanted and I chose what God wanted for me, right? And now here I am years later. I'm pretty well put together. And if I look at the people that wanted to pull me into that, they're not really, I mean, you can assume, but like, I don't know. If I can look and see the greatness of sacrifice in my own life, I'd be wrong to tell you not to sacrifice. And I'd be wrong to stop sacrificing myself. So I encourage you, viewer, listener, whatever you are, if you have plugged this into Manus and asked for the transcript, reader, sacrifice something, right? Give it up. Doesn't even have to be like a faith thing. I'm doing it because of my faith, right? I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I feel like He wants me to sacrifice something, so I'm going to. But even if we remove that from it, everybody has to sacrifice something. Everybody has to give something up at some point. You can never walk through a new door carrying too much old baggage. Eventually, you need to figure out what can't come through that new door with you, right? And that's what you need to sacrifice. Doesn't change the fact that you paid a lot of money for whatever's in that bag. Doesn't change the fact that you have an emotional attachment to whatever's in that bag. It doesn't change the fact that there's some nostalgia, that that bag contains things that make you feel good, whatever it may be. It doesn't change that. It actually is the reason why sacrifice is what sacrifice is, and that's the reason you need to sacrifice it. So I'm going to go put my money where my mouth is and practice what I'm preaching here a little bit. I'm going to go sacrifice some things, and hopefully you comment on this video and say that you are too. But my name's Noah. I love you guys. Peace.